Hi, welcome to a short headstand tutorial. So I'm going to take you through a few little drills, so a bit of engagement before we get upside down. If you want to do more reps, by all means, just pause the video and then join back in when you have completed what you need to complete. If you are new to headstand, that's great. If you have headstand practice, that's also great. If you're feeling a little bit nervous, you might want to just have a wall behind you when we do start going upside down. And know that as we start going upside down, you don't need to go the whole way up. So go into it as much or as little as you want. And often the reason people are scared of headstands or inversions in general is that they often push too far too soon. So don't be afraid to just take it nice and easy today and skip bits that just don't work for your body, and then come back to it tomorrow, another day, and try again. You'll be amazed at how much your body remembers, and the next time you come to it, things will feel a lot easier. So we're going to get started lying on our backs. So come to Supta Baddha Konasana legs, so feet together to touch, one hand onto the heart, one hand onto the stomach. And even though this is a little mini workshop, we're just going to start with a few grounding deep breaths. So dropping into the practice, whether it's a full hour's practice or it's just 5 minutes, it's always nice to settle down, let go of your day or week, any thoughts that might be in your mind, and really allow this time to be completely present, completely focusing on the physical movements, the breath flowing in and out of the body. Let's take one breath in together. Open the mouth and just sigh it out. Great. Bring your knees together to touch and hug them in towards your chest. Just give yourself a little squeeze, maybe roll a little bit from side to side. From here, you're going to bring your feet into a chair pose position. Interlace your fingers underneath your head and nice and gently lift your head and shoulders up off the floor. Keep the elbows nice and open here. And if you can, really ground down with the lower back. Just holding it here. Think about pulling your tummy button in towards the spine. And almost a sensation of wrapping the hip bones, so those sticky outy bones, wrapping them towards each other. Obviously, they're not going to move here, but have that thought in your mind to really start engaging the whole of the core. There's so much more going on in the muscles around the core that is sort of deeper along the sides of the body, down towards the hip flexors, up towards the shoulders. So really think about what you're engaging here. And notice if you start sort of drooping, your head starts lowering back down, and keep it nice and lifted here. If you have any doming in the stomach, just back off, maybe lower the head back down. And we're going to just breathe here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keeping the head and shoulders lifted, we're just going to straighten that right leg out 2 inches off the floor. Lift it back up. Let's go on the left side, 2 inches off the floor. Swapping sides. Right leg straightens. Left leg straightens. We're going to do about 10 more of these. Keep breathing for 9. For 8. 7. Keep the elbows relaxed. 6. Face relaxed. 5. Maybe a little smile to the lips. 4. 3. 2. 1, pausing back in center. Keep the head and shoulders lifted just for 2 more breaths. And nice and gently releasing down. Feet flat to the floor, hip width apart, and just sway the knees slightly from side to side. So that was just to start firing up the core muscles, get things warming up. Feet flat to the floor once more. Make sure you can just brush the heels with the fingertips. And then we're not going for a full bridge pose, we're just going for an engagement along the back line of the body. So slowly peel the hips up. We're not going all the way up into a back bend, as I said. We just want to look at squeezing the glutes here. Think about pulling the heels back towards you. So without actually moving them, have the intention of pressing the feet down and pulling them back, and you'll feel the hamstrings start to light up. Check in with the breath here. It might feel nice if that core work felt quite intense. This should feel quite nice going the opposite way. You might feel it through the hip flexors too. Just taking 2 more breaths. Keep squeezing the glutes as much as you can, drawing those heels down and backwards. And then slowly, slowly rolling back down onto the mat. Have the knees in towards the chest. This time grab the underneath of the thighs and take a rock and roll backwards and forwards. You can take 1 or 2 or however many feel good. And we'll make our way all the way through into a plank position. So hands are below shoulders and fingers are spread nice and wide. So once you've found your plank pose, we're going to walk our awareness through the engagement here. So the more you squeeze your legs, the muscles in your legs towards the bones, the lighter your body will feel here. So squeezing the muscles here. Think about pulling the core in and up once more. And then a neutral pelvis. So we're not sticking our bum out, which often happens here, and we're not letting the hips sink. So it's a nice neutral spine, a neutral pelvis. And then let's think about the hands. The fingers are spread wide. Press down as much as you can with each of your fingertips, each of your knuckle pads. And you're pressing down so much that the space in between the shoulder blades starts lifting. And then you just breathe here. From here, bring your big toes together to touch, and we're going to spin into a side plank, right hand down, left arm lifts. You can lower the bottom leg if you need to. You can even lift that top leg, totally up to you. And we're just going to hold it here. Nice and gently come back through a high plank and spin over side plank, left hand down, right arm up. So we're just starting to light up the shoulders here. Our shoulders are super important in any sort of inversion, especially getting them nice and warm for our headstand. Both hands down, high plank. If you need to, take a little rest here, come into a child's pose, maybe pause the video. Otherwise, stay with me in your high plank. You can join back in whenever you want to if you're in child's pose, but we're going to move into our next movement. So I want you to think about the space in between the shoulder blades, and I want you to let it sink down, and then press it up. So keeping the arms exactly where they are, it's almost like just a movement with the shoulders. We're going to take 10 of these in your own time. So we've done 1. Let's push away. That's 2. Sinking down. Pushing up. That's 3. Sinking down. Pushing up. That's 4. Sinking down. 5. Keep going. You can stay at my pace, or if you need to, slow it down. I think we're on 8 and 9. Last one, 10. Press it down, hold it here for 5. Press the earth away a little bit more, 4. Keep breathing, keep squeezing the core for 3, for 2, for 1. Everyone drop down onto your knees and take a child's pose. So knees nice and wide, forehead down. Just let yourself find a resting pose. So now that we have engaged our core, our back line, and our shoulders a little bit, we're going to move towards our headstand. So even if you know where you're going, maybe you want to slow things down a little bit today. If you are brand new, know that this child's pose that we are taking right now is always there. So if you feel a bit overwhelmed, a bit lightheaded, a bit wobbly, just come back into your child's pose. So the best way to set up for this headstand, for any headstand really, that we're doing like this, is we're going to grab opposite fingers to opposite elbow. So that is the distance you want to have between your elbows, not wider, not narrower. So keeping those elbows exactly where they are, come down onto your mat. We're going to then interlace the fingers. So you want to make a sort of triangle here between the elbows and the hands. And the interlace of the fingers is going to make a little cocoon for your head. So once you've got that set up, you're going to place the crown of the head right in that cocoon. So fiddle around, find a nice secure position. And before we take it any further, think about pressing the forearms down. And it's quite similar to that movement we were just taking in our high plank. So it's that sort of sinking and then pressing. From here, we're going to tuck our toes under and walk our feet in. So we're almost in like a down dog in our body, but our head is on the floor. Again, from here, think about pressing the forearms down and then releasing. Maybe you're able to, from here, press the forearms down so much that your head just lifts off the floor. It doesn't need to lift off too much.
Just work on this for a moment. We're really building the strength in the shoulders here. So pressing the forearms down and then releasing. Pressing the forearms down and releasing. From here, you can either stay with that or take a little break for the shoulders, releasing the hands, shake out the shoulders. So we're going to break it right down. At no point do you want the majority of the weight on your head. So only about 20-25% of weight is ever going to be on your head. If you start feeling like your neck is going or it's too much on your head, just back off, come back to this exercise, strengthen up the shoulders. Let's go again, or joining people if they have continued. Find that same position, so elbows check where they are. Find that nice little cocoon for the head, and then we lift our hips up. Now we're going to see if we can walk our feet a little bit closer towards our face. You can keep your knees bent if you need to. And then from here, we're just going to lift up our right foot. So tucking the knee in towards the chest. So don't think about lifting the knee up high, just bringing it in towards the chest, lifting it up. Great work. Swap sides, check in that you're pressing down with the forearm still. Let's bring that left knee in towards the chest. Stay with it. So drop that left foot back down. You can either take a break or go on the right side again. So just going for that alternating, bringing the knee in towards the chest, seeing how that feels if you're wobbly, getting your mind used to being upside down. So always pausing if you need to. I'm going to set back up. So always if you come out and come back in, check back in. Shoulders, head, crown of the head, hands, what's going on? Okay. From here, so we've worked on lifting one foot at a time. So lift that right foot up and then start to come right onto the tippy toes of that left foot. Let it float up off the floor. Keep the knees tucked in here. So we're not going any further than this from now. So what's tempting here is that you just start lifting the feet up quite messily, quite quickly before you found your balance. So just pausing here. And then again, releasing out of it, maybe a little bit more gently than I just did. Again. If you were just upside down with both feet off, just take a breath, sitting upright, let the flow of blood come back. I'm going to go through this once more. If you felt a little bit wobbly like that, just stay working on that. Keep just lifting both feet up, keep the knees tucked in. Maybe you work on that by the wall and then you take that away from the wall and you don't even think about straightening the legs. That's a great place to be. If you want to go for straight legs, we do the exact same thing, so setting yourself up, grabbing hold of the elbows, interlace the fingers, head comes to the floor, and always work through those steps. So lift the feet up, lift the hips up, tippy toes, one knee in at a time, and lift the hips. Now we think about stacking the hips on top of the shoulders. From here, maybe you go for lifting up one foot. Maybe that feels wobbly, so you lower it back down. Maybe you go for the other foot. Again, maybe it feels a bit wobbly. Maybe you start to lift up both feet, nice and slowly here, and just see how that feels. Make sure you're breathing. Coming back out of the pose, you're going to bend the knees in towards the chest. Gently place the feet towards the floor and bring the forehead down. Let's take a child's pose for a few breaths, especially if you went all the way upside down. And when you're ready, lifting back up to a kneeling position. And there we have it. Go through that as many times as you want. Remember that pausing with both knees in towards the chest is a really, really great place to be. Work towards it. Take it nice and slowly. And once your both feet are up, great, wonderful. But it's not about getting into the pose, it's about the journey along the way. Some days you're a little bit more wobbly than others. If you have any questions at all about headstand, please let me know. I'm very happy to answer them. It can be quite a frustrating practice when you're new to it, but take your time. I was working on this for a long time before I managed to get upside down. Next headstand video is going to be on tripod headstand, so I hope to see you there. Great, thank you.